good, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Exposing Sports Talk. I'm your host, Kellen Blake, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Jalen Mitchell. What's good, Jay?
What's good with you?
My guy, here another day. Today we have a special guest. Got my homie, the first female athlete that we have today, too. I'm very excited to get that going. Miss Kim Ryder. What's good, Kim?
What's up? It's blessed to be here.
This is gonna be a great one. I already know. Man, all right. So how you doing? First of all, how you living through this whole COVID and everything?
You know, I think I'm immune to COVID, so I'm living good. Haven't got it yet.
And that's all we can ask for.
You know you immune when you've been exposed and you don't catch it. Yeah.
I don't think I've been. All right, cool. Oh man, all right. So as always, this is gonna be fun because just definitely we just give a perspective of student athlete life and all that good stuff, but also like the realness of being a student athlete, and then just like what we're doing now. So total question has nothing to do with sports at all, but we ask this to everybody. You gotta name your top 3 artists. You can only listen to these 3 artists for the rest of your life.
Chris Brown.
I already knew that was coming. She had. Didn't you have you was like shouted out by like Black Pyramid, right? I seen you repost that.
I was.
Shout out to you.
No, Chris Brown liked my picture. Whatever, it's fine.
Oh.
The year date went. It was the 27th of September, but it's a true story.
This is last year?
2
years
2 years ago.
Damn.
Yeah.
You're not working for Black Pyramid yet?
I know. One of these days. I just need to go on one of them little reality shows. Just like see my face.
Hey, man.
That's it.
You're right. You already know who to call. First of all, last week we did have Derek, and like I definitely you got top his episode. It was probably one of the like funniest ones, or like one of the just best ones.
I talked to him recently. I did talk to him recently.
So yeah, he was last week. So you know we all know each other. We all friendly. So I mean a little friendly competition. Shit. Just saying.
Okay. I'm funnier than him, and he knows it too. That's why he tries to get me on his shows. He tries to cast me. He calls me up. I don't call him up. He called me up.
All right, you got Chris Brown. We got 2 more.
Does Rihanna count? Because she don't make no music no more. But
I mean, she an artist. She did make music.
Yeah, probably that, and probably this is hard for the rest of my life.
Yup.
Oh fuck. Sorry, no cussing.
I mean, it's real. It's all good.
It's hard because I want to say like I really love Jhené Aiko. It's like my calming. Like I listen to her every morning. It's my calming. Yeah, I'll probably go with Jhené.
Jhené, I saw her in concert. I'm not gonna lie. It wasn't that great. That's just me personally, but I mean, she's a dope artist. Don't look at me like that.
Yeah. I hope like if angels don't sound like her when I get to heaven, something is wrong.
Oh man.
Her voice is like angelic.
It is. I rock with her. Like I rock with like her music, but just like her concert just wasn't. I don't know. Maybe I was. Yeah. I don't think it was there personally, but. Hey man, she getting a bag. That's all. I can respect it. All right, Jay. What's a new song, new artist? I know before we were talking, Taylor came out and Giveon.
Hey, yeah, you know I wanted Taylor. I wanted Giveon. You know, in my fields this past week. You know how I go. But, I think I'm gonna switch it up. You know, we all athletes here. I'm not trying to get in my field. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna go with. All right, let's say I had to work out to like one artist, 2 artists for the rest of my life. I gotta go with Meek Mill. Can get you through all my sets.
Oh right? Yeah.
And Jeezy, bro. Jeezy. If you rock with Jeezy, then that means you just have a dope soul in general. Because not.
Dang, all right. At least one person just to work out music too. We haven't even done that. That's dope. All right, let's figure that out. I don't know. Kim, you might have.
No, I would go with Meek Mill too. Meek Mill is on every one of my workout playlists.
I used to pray for time.
It's something about that. It's something about that yelling voice that you be like, one more.
See, I don't know. Like, this may be weird, but like, I rock out to R&B when I work out.
I knew you were gonna say that, man. I
sometimes.
knew it. Honestly, it helps you control your breathing though when you listen to R&B. When you lift
I
and
just
stuff.
be in a vibe. I'd be like low key, like if I was listening to low key, like not even like all of Drake catalog, but like Drake. I'm talking even like Tony, like if we was going back, like I could
Oh, you
listen to
all
them.
back.
I could Kim stop looking at me like that. I could do it. But if I had to
Okay.
listen to somebody like hip hop, it'd probably be like Future or Gunna just gets me hyped. Probably more so Future, but like between those
Okay.
two, like right now, that's who I would go. That's actually a dope question. We're gonna have to ask that question for moving forward because I like that. But
Yeah,
all right,
that was a good question.
we kind of got sidetracked. All right, so I'm glad you're doing well. And first question we asked Meat and Potatoes is you played softball. We get into that. We're gonna talk about high school life. What was high school like? You know, trying to play softball, trying to get recruited for softball, and then we just gonna move from that. So tell us your story a little bit, starting in freshman year of high school.
Oh Jesus. Okay, well, it's a long story. How long we got?
We got time.
I'm from Oregon, so I started my high school career in Oregon, and when I moved here, I didn't know, because in Oregon, or where I was, when you were in middle school, you weren't playing high school. Like if you made varsity, you were the shit. And like here, when I moved here, like people were like, yeah, I played JV and varsity when I was in 8th grade or 7th grade. I was
Here
like,
is South Carolina, right?
yes. I
Okay,
was
there we
like,
go.
what do you mean? I don't know if they just sucked or I don't know. So I was just like, okay, no, you're not better than me. Just kidding. So I made varsity on the West Coast, and I hardly remember like the team. I was like the swing player, so I would go to JV when they needed help, and then I would play varsity. So I was like traveling all the time because I would go with both teams all the time. But yeah, I don't really remember it that well. We did go to the championships of state, and we lost by like 1. And I remember I was in, which I don't play right field, okay, but they put me out there because the other girl was messing up. So I was out there, and there was a hit that came, and there was a girl on third, and she was going home, and they were like screaming home, and I nailed, like it was the perfect throw, one hot bounce to the catcher, and she fucking missed the tag, and we lost. And I was like, well, that ain't on me. I did my part. It was.
So basically, you saying it's all homegirl, like whoever your catcher was, like shouts out to her for messing that up.
No, I'm kidding. There's always things that you can go back and do better. You know, we could have scored more. But yeah, I think when I was that young, I didn't really realize what that meant. So I never like thought state was that big of a deal. And then so sophomore year is when I moved to Fort Mill, South Carolina, and played for Nation Ford, Nate Foe. And if you talk to anyone that's around here, this generation, they always call us the dynasty. Because when I came, we basically became like really good, which they were already, I feel like, had a solid team. And then I came in, and all my life I hated playing shortstop. Like I love second base. Second base is like I know it like the back of my hand. You just know everything that you like. It's really weird, the abilities I would have. I know when something was going to come to me. I knew how the hitter was going to hit at second, but at shortstop I didn't know that. And everyone always tried to play me at shortstop, and I just didn't want to. And so when I came in there, they were like, you're going to play shortstop. And I was like, no, I'm not. And also the girl that was shortstop hated me at first because she was like, no, that's my position. And I was like, well, bitch, I don't want it either. So we both mad for no reason. Shit. And then later she ended up we were like best friends. She ended up playing third base, and I played shortstop. And
So you ended up taking her position anyways.
I did.
That's crazy.
I did. Yeah, sometimes you gotta, you don't always get to do what you want when you have to be a leader. So that's my whole life. So I played shortstop. And then that year I think it was that year, we won state. I think it was that year. It might have been the next year. You see how all this is like a fog? Is it like that with y'all? Because
I mean, it's a lot that happened in college. I mean, I didn't get the chance to even go to state in high school, so my first ring came in college, so that's all I can.
True.
All I can say. Well, I mean, for basketball,
I
at
get
least.
a ring in college, so.
Oof, dang.
Yeah.
You got some hardware. You got some hardware though.
Yeah. So yeah, we went state, and then we did well in the playoffs, but like we had a lot of people that were older, and it was like the main three. That was Jarnay, which was center field, and she played center field at college, and then I was at shortstop, and then Bradley was a pitcher, and we all three went to Winthrop. I shouldn't have went there. I don't know what they were thinking. I shouldn't have gone there, but
we're gonna get to that.
We'll get to that. So like us three, we were the same age, we were the same class, so like we kept it going. We did well, but I don't even remember what happened our senior year. But we didn't win state, and we only won state 1 year.
So how was y'all a dynasty?
Because we were really good, okay? Like Fort Mill and Nation 4 went downhill after we left, okay?
Oh,
like,
okay. It just got like super bad.
Playoffs and everything.
Okay. Yeah. I thought you was gonna say like we came out here. I got 3 rings in 3 years. Okay. Call me Jordan. That's the type of energy you brought to me right now.
We went to the playoffs every year. It's just there was this girl actually ended up pitching at she was pitching out. I know she had to go to different schools because she was bullying. But I'm not gonna put her name out there. But she was a really good pitcher. She was really fast. She went to top SEC school, I think. And then and we got her that 1 year, and then the next year we just couldn't get her. Could not hit that bitch. Yeah, that's what got us. Sorry, do we cuss? I cuss too much.
At this point, we already here. So
I should be a pirate, okay? I'd be on that shit. Cussing.
Okay, so we get through high school. Not even get through high school. So when did you realize at a point where it was like I could play softball in college?
Pretty much all my life, I was destined. No, I'm for real.
The way you said that just so subtle, was like shit. I always knew. Like
the thing was on the West Coast, and back in the day when I was in middle school and high school.
Right, chill out. We not that old. Like
I know, but nowadays
35.
Okay, but nowadays it is different. There was a switch, and I don't know when it happened, but back when I was there, like the Pac-12, well, it was Pac-10 back then. The Pac-10 was like very advanced. Like you were very advanced on the West Coast. And so I trained with a lot of like top people that have name brand shit. And my whole thing was I was supposed to go to a Pac-10 school. Like I was playing up so instead of 14s, I was playing 16s. They wanted me to play 18s, and I was like, them bitches are too big. Like I was small, okay? Like I'm always small. I've always been the skinniest and the shortest on the team. Like I have just now gotten weight, but I was always skinny, and they wanted me to play 18s, 14s to 18s. Too big, too scary. I was not how I am now. So I was like, no, but that was my path, was to go play Pac-10. Now, when I got to high school, when I moved, I absolutely hated my high school. Like it was very, that was a hard time. I remember it being segregated, and I didn't fit into either one. I just came in like, and just everybody was like, you know?
Did you go to private school or public school?
Public.
Okay.
So I was like, I ate lunch in the bathroom. Like we weren't even allowed. Like that shit was crazy. We couldn't like go off campus to eat. Like what? I couldn't have my cell phone at lunch. It was weird because in Oregon I could. So I was like, oh, I can just like go in the parking lot. No, you can't go in the parking lot.
That's a little interesting to talk about, even just to comment on, just like the difference between like West Coast and East Coast, like not even just sports, but just lifestyle. You know, it's totally different, especially going from completely like west to like southeast. Like, you know, we're going directions. Like that's a total life change, honestly.
It was a total change. And like now that I'm older and I see it, like I always say, it's bittersweet wherever I go. And I love the West Coast vibes, but I love the Southeast like culture of it. So that's what, like, because a lot of people say, you're not from here, are you? And a lot of people guess that I'm from the West Coast, and I still don't really get why, but a lot of people say you just have that vibe. I'm like, okay. but she cultured, so but when I moved, I'm young, I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, that's how I took it. It's like, well, what's wrong with me? Like, I'm still nice to everybody, but I was like, what the hell is wrong with me? So it was a big shock. And so I wasn't sure if I was going to go do softball in college, because I wasn't even sure where I was going to go to college, because I did not want to go to a college on the South or on the East Coast at all. Like, I was not going to do it. And that's what kind of comes into my recruiting process. Cause I really shut down like in high school, cause like I had the team, but they all had like their friends groups outside of the team. And it wasn't like the team hung out every day, at lunch and between halls. Like, that's not how it worked. Like, they would say hi to each other, but that's it. So I didn't, it's like my whole life I was like, okay, I'm going to do Pac-12, and then I move, don't know the recruiting process. My parents don't know the recruiting process, and then I'm just sitting there like, I don't even know if I want to play now, because I'm just basically depressed. I was depressed. So that's really how that went. Yeah.
That's tough though. Like, that's like real shit, to say the least. Like, it's just like, even just moving in general, like, that's a huge move. And then having to deal with whatever you went through, like you said, just the whole culture change is like, I think that's a gem that definitely somebody would be able to relate to. Excuse me.
Yeah.
But just it's just like you said, you got depressed or whatever. Like, that's tough. Like, that's a lot to deal with at 15, 16, however old you are. Like, you gotta try to find new friends. You gotta figure out like what you trying to do. And then it's just like, the one thing that you do love is kind of like not even the same anymore. You know what I mean? So, all right, piggybacking off of that, we'll get to this a little bit. Like, what would be one piece of advice you would give like a high school, like, student athlete, maybe softball girl, just like trying to figure out like going that softball route? Because I do have more like high school questions though.
I would say to ask and to speak up, because like, I think a lot of people, and this goes for a lot of athletes, it's that it's not like we pretend to know what we're supposed to do, or pretend like I think nowadays, actually, I feel like people think that they have to pretend that they have it together. But in reality, we all don't know what the fuck we're doing here. So it's like, especially when you're that age, you don't know what you want to do. You don't know what you want to like, you don't know what college to go to, and what you like. Some people know that they want to be a firefighter, other people don't. And so just asking the questions of, what is the process I need to take? What route should I think about? How do I go to approaching college coaches? Like, where finding the information is part of asking somebody. So, and the guidance counselors and all those people should know those answers, but I feel like we don't think to ask them really. So I would say to ask and speak up.
Facts. I love it. So, all right. So we get into high school. I don't know how recruiting for softball even works. Like, I assume it's generally the same, but like, I know for baseball, because I used to play baseball till a lot of stuff went down or whatever, but it was like, you had to play travel, you had to play all-stars, you had to do, it's pretty much AAU for baseball and softball. They had all that kind of stuff. So when you got to South Carolina, did you end up playing like year round? How did that go?
Yeah, so I trained like right away, because my dad was already emailing coaches. Right when we said we were moving, he was emailing on forums. There's apparently forums for, we call it ASA. So like AAU is basically ASA.
I heard of it. I was in a baseball circuit. I always saw the little softball girls, and they were like purple and like yellow or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. So, there's like forums for everything out there. The internet is a thing. So right when I came, like, I had a team. I had tryouts for a few teams, because like I said, when we were back in those days, a West Coast coming over here was like, oh shit, like, she's probably I mean, honestly, that's not me trying to be like a big head, but a lot of people were like, she's got to be good. She's from the West Coast. And especially with who I have worked with, and I've said that I've worked with them. So they're like, oh, like, this is someone that needs to come to our tryouts. So I went to tryouts and I tried out for top teams. And the thing is, like, everything is so political still when you're younger on teams. You know, it's that, you know, some coaches aren't treating the players fairly, or some parents are paying off for their kid or whatever. And that all was going on at my age. I don't understand that. My dad had to see it to believe it type thing. And so I had to go through like that process of figuring out what team is real better for me. All the while, you know, you're still, because I was doing it year round. So like right when we moved that summer is when I started the tryouts. And still not fit. I don't want to say not fitting in, but you're the new kid, you know, and I felt more confident on the softball field than I would in a high school room or cafeteria or whatever. So I wasn't too like, I don't know what I'm doing, or I never felt on the field. I never felt like what was wrong
out
with
of
me.
place.
I never felt out of place because that was my savvy. Like I was like, no, I know more than y'all know, you know what I mean? So, you know, I was like, yeah, I did that in 2009. Like, so yeah, was that the question?
I'm gonna piggyback off that question because you brought up a good point. I don't think we asked on the show yet, but I mean, growing up, everybody has, you know, people on the team where there's both parents go to the game. Some people just get dropped off. They don't really have that much parental support. But it seems like, you know, your dad definitely, you know, had your best interest. Do you think that definitely influenced you as a softball player?
Yes. Honestly, I think a big decision to go to college was for that, because when I say that man spent so much time and money, like, because I mean, you thinking back, like he worked a full-time job. He was traveling all the time and worrying about his work, but also I still say he's my biggest fan to this day, because he just thought, you know, we all think like, we probably all would think our child is the best to ever do whatever. And I was always confident in my abilities, but he was like, no, she is going to pack. Like if someone says she's going to Pac-10, she's going, because she has the capability to do it. So he was always there. He always put so much money. I mean, figuring out what teams I should be on, figuring out, you know, scheduling. Like we would get up at 5 a.m. to go to summer, you know, weekend tournaments. I wasn't the one that had to drive. Like I got to wake up and go back to sleep. Like he got to wake up, drive after he was just, you know, at work all freaking day. So thankfully I had him, but I still think he tried to figure out as much as he could know for like recruiting wise and everything like that. But there's just so much you still as a parent don't know if you're not like educated directly on like what to do. Bruh. But I am thankful that I had him to at least like help me out. Yeah.
I definitely can relate to that. My dad did like the same thing. He was there for me, paid for all the AAU. I was at all the top like hoop group for basketball. That's what it was like, hoop group.
Right.
All those tournaments in the summer, like, and it took a while for me to like appreciate like everything that he did. And like shout out to all the proactive parents
shout
out there.
To the parents, yeah.
Shout outs to y'all.
Yeah.
And if you know y'all, if somebody parent watching this, you know, be proactive and just learn that, you know, it is a lot of kids that did like their parents didn't go through. Like I was the first one in my family to go to college to play a sport. So it's like it's so many kids out there that's, you know, either their parents might even, like Jay said, some kids just getting dropped off. Like so they getting this knowledge, but it might be a parent that like might not know what to do or, you know, whatever. So I mean, hopefully like these little tidbits can help them too, for sure. So bouncing off of that. So we through high school, you got what, one ring, right? Okay, there we go. Playoff appearances there. We'll leave it at that. So when did you start getting like your college offers?
Okay. So kind of going back a little. So for softball, for recruiting, and I don't know if this has changed, but basically sophomore year is when they really are hard at recruiting. Like that's when you should be verbally signed. They can't, or no, you can write to them, but you can't talk to them or something like that. Like it's something where like in sophomore year, you can do like a written, whatever agreement. So sophomore year is when they're really looking, you go to tournaments and all that. So sophomore year is when I moved. Okay. So during the move, like I said, I did not like the East Coast. I did not like the South. I was not going to a school here. But it did so that whole year I was pretty much, I mean, my parents had a lot going on. Like my dad's figuring out his job and all that stuff and figuring out what teams I should be on for the next summer coming up. And I'm just trying to get by in school and figure out what the hell is wrong with me while eating in the bathroom. So so for softball, like I really wasn't focused on like talking to coaches or getting recruited and all that kind of stuff. Looking back, like I definitely should have, but I also wasn't sure if I was going to play in college still, because like I said, I was in a different mentality. Yeah. So then when junior year came around and even sophomore year, like my coaches, my high school coaches, which I still love them to this day, they're my favorite coaches that I've had throughout all my years. They were the first ones to be like, hey, like Georgia really wants to talk to you. And like, we got connects at Alabama. If you want to look at that, Florida State wants to talk to you, all this stuff. And I said, no. I was like, no, I'm good. I was like, I'm not good. Like in my head, I'm not going there. I don't care how good they are. Like, I'm not going. So, and like I said, I'm a child. I shouldn't have. I really blocked a lot of blessings, which my dad has always told me never close a door. And I think I've never have until that time. And I think I was just so depressed and so out of my normal element that I did not care. Like I saw one thing and I saw me going back to the West Coast and that was it. So now it was like junior year when my parents started to notice like something was wrong with me. So my mom was like what's going on? Like, why are you, you're different or whatever. And I was just like, I just finally broke down and I was like screaming at her. I remember being like, I'm fucking depressed. I don't know what else to say. Like, I'm trying over here. And so they said, well, how about for your senior year, you can move back to Oregon, and that before your senior year, that summer, you can go play for a team, and you have to get a scholarship though, because we're going to still be in South Carolina. So if you go to a school over there, we can't afford an out-of-state tuition basically. So they gave me the opportunity to move in with my best friend, our family best friend that was still in Oregon. And then we found like one of the top teams to take me in so that I can play with them that summer. So I was like, I was like, I'm about to do this. I'm about to go to Pac-12. Like, I was like hype as hell. I was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. That makes me so much happier. Like, I just can't do it over here. I was like, I can't do it. So I get there. This team was good. I don't want to say I didn't get along with the coach that well, but like he just saw me. He didn't know me. He always knew of me. And this was the first time that I was playing with him. He's remembered my name for a long time when I was little, but he's never played with me or seen me actually like in my element. And so I think it was different than what he expected. And so he was always trying to critique certain things. And I would tell, because even my infielder coach that I worked with years past, like I would see him at tournaments and be like, yeah, he's trying to make me do this thing. Like, I don't really know. And then he was like, does he not know that it's you? He's like, that's just not how you do it. You do it perfectly, just not in that way. And I was like, yeah. I was like, you're right. So I had to like confront a lot with that, but I'm by myself. Like my dad did not come with me. So I'm having to travel across, we were going to Cali, Colorado, all of Oregon, Washington, and I was doing it all by myself. Like I didn't know how to feed myself. When I came, I lost so much weight. Like it was insane. So then when I was trying to talk to these teams, so I'm like emailing them to the best of my abilities. Now I'm 18 years old, like typing these professional emails to please come see me play. Like, I'm from here, I moved here, and I'm back over here, please. And then I did like a whole little, you know, recruiting video that we freaking shot with an old ass camera, and I just clipped together, you know, like whatever, put in some organ songs in the back. And by that time, like, you got to think I was going into my senior year. And so all of the Pac-12 was like, they all emailed me back, but they all said, you know, I'm sorry, but that class is full. Like, we have all of our 2012s, but if you want to do a walk-on, like, we'd love to have you walk on. And like I said, we couldn't afford me to walk on. So like, I had to get a scholarship. So Pac-12 is out of the picture because they had their classes recruited. And then basically on the West Coast, it's basically Pac-12 and then D2 and D3. But like over here, you have, you know, the SEC and all that in the Big Ten. And then there's Winthrop, and there's Coastal, and there, you know, you like, there's still D1. You can still say, yeah, I went to a D1, but it's not a Florida State, Florida University, Georgia. You know, it's not to that caliber. And over there, it is Pac-12 and then D2, D3, you know, and so on forth. So to me, I was getting D2 offers. I had a lot of schools, like, honestly, there was a Hawaii school, should have went there. Honestly, thinking back, I was like, why the hell did I go to Hawaii? I could be sitting on a beach, tan, finding the love of my life, and then moving to Hawaii. But whatever. So when I was getting those emails, I kind of, in my head, I knew I was going to college to play, because I had, going back to my dad, I was like, you know what, he spent so much money on me doing this. I would feel terrible if I didn't try to go to college to play. Like, that is a lot of money and a lot of years to not even go. Plus, I know my capabilities now. I was like, there's no way. I see people that are going to these top schools, and I know that I'm just as good, if not better than them. So when I was getting these D2 and D3 offers, I was more disappointed because I knew I was not a D2 player. I was like, I am a D1 player. I'm not going to a D2, D3 school. You see how I'm real stubborn? Like, I'm stubborn over there, like, then I come over here and I'm even more stubborn.
I definitely like relate to that, because it's like, you get to a point too where you get like, in your mindset, you feel like you're that athlete. But then when other people tell you and like hype you up, be like, yeah, you can go D1, you can do this, then it's like, oh, like, this is for real. Like, it's easy to tell myself, it's like real, to have confidence to be like, yeah, I'm a D1 athlete. But when somebody else tells me, and then they have like had other people be in that position and tell you that too, it's really hard to be like, yeah, I'm gonna just settle and go for this D2 offer. Like, that's like a question that we ask, because it's like, at least for basketball, I don't know about softball, because like I might feel bad, but like, is there like professional softball, or is that like not a, you know,
there is, but
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
You're not gonna make money. You're probably gonna owe more money.
Exactly, but it's especially like when it comes to that, like basketball, I could go D2, even sometimes like D3, and still make it somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, and still make decent amount of money or whatever. But like softball, true, it's like, that's even 10 times. It's like, I'm not gonna go to this little lesser school, even if it is just for the moment. Like, you never know what happens. You could go to that lesser school, or like, I don't want to say lesser, but like, you can go to the Division 2, Division 3, or whatever, and then hopefully move up. But that's like a gamble too. Is like, if a lot of people are saying I'm this caliber already, like, it just feels like you're settling. So like, how I clearly, you was like, nah, I'm going D1. But all right, finish your story. My bad.
No, it all ties in, because I come to that moment as well. But like you said, like, it was something that was on my life. You know, when I were at 12 years old, when I work with a top hitting coach that is out of Texas, but he travels from East Coast to West Coast to freaking teach all these top, at that time, college players. And he's telling me that I have a swing, I can do both sides, and I have a swing that's very unique and all this shit. And then I go and I work on infield at 14 years old, I had there was one of my friend's shoulders was hurting, and so she had some. He was an infield coach for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and he came in and did drills with us. And he kept saying, "You're cheating." And I was like, "How?" He was like, "You're doing it right, but your feet and hands are so fast that I can see that you're cheating. You're still doing it, but your hands are like literally the fastest I've ever seen a softball player do this." And so when I have that at 14 years old, of course I'm going to always think that I am at a certain level that I should not go beneath. So when I come and I get older, and now D1s and Pac-12 is saying, well, yeah, you can walk on and you'll have a good shot, but I don't have any money to give you. I'm like, okay, so I am worth a D1 spot, but I have no money there. So now I have to go to D2. No, I'm not going to settle for that. So, and it wasn't any schools that I really found interesting either, except for the Hawaii one, which that's a regret.
So this is the University of Hawaii, like the big one?
I don't even remember what school it was. I just remember it was Hawaii.
Okay.
So then that's when, I called my dad and I said, "You're going to hate me, but I'm going to just come back and talk to Georgia and see what I can do with that." I was like, I'm going to come back to the East Coast, finish my senior year there, and hopefully get one of those schools that wanted to talk to me before. And I had one mentor. She was my coach. She was also my mentor, and she was a friend, and she would always work with our teams and stuff. And so when I came back, and she always talked to me when I first moved there and was like, she was the Alabama Connect, and she was trying to get me to talk to these coaches, and I just wasn't having it. So when I came back, I act like I never left. I act like it was sophomore year all over again. I was like, so who wants me? I'm just like, let me send out these emails. So when I come back, obviously they're all full as well. Time has passed. You said no. That was a slap in the face. They're not gonna, you can walk on if you want to, but they probably not gonna be happy with you. You know what I mean? So it got to the point where it was small D1s. I mean, I even forget, but Winthrop was one of them, obviously. And a few others. There was Roanoke and one by the beach. It wasn't Coastal. It was something else. Maybe Charleston. I have no idea. And then my mentor, her name was Jay, and she said, if I were you, if you want to stay the same athlete you are, or even get worse, then go to Winthrop, have fun with your friends. Because at this point, Bradley and Nay were committed to Winthrop. So she's like, you can go to Winthrop. And Jay had played at Winthrop. So she knew that coach. She knew how he ran things and everything like that. So she told me, if you want to stay the same athlete you are, which is a great athlete, but you won't grow from it, you can either reverse or stay the same, go to Winthrop, have fun with your friends. But if you want to grow as an athlete and have the chance to go to a D1 like you can, then go to a JUCO in Florida. She was like, go to a JUCO in Florida, play a couple years. There will be a team that picks you up.
It's where all the good JUCOs come out of Florida, bro. Basketball too, little Miami-Dade is crazy. It's a lot.
And that's I always tell people I don't like to regret things in life. I don't have many, but my life would be totally different if I just wouldn't listen to that one piece of advice, and I don't know why I did it.
So you would have went to JUCO?
Yeah, I think so. If I would know what happened, now that I know what happened, I would probably reverse it. And
it's so crazy.
It is.
Because just looking at it, I had the same idea. I went to prep school instead of JUCO, so it was an extra year of high school, whatever, pretty much. But I'm playing top. I'm playing JUCOs. I'm playing whoever. But it was definitely could have still went to JUCO. But I didn't like you said at the beginning with the whole D1 thing. I felt I didn't understand JUCO is really there's some JUCOs that's better than Division I schools. And I wish I would have known that in high school at 18 or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, you know, you're only there 2 years. So it's like, I mean, most people, you're only there 2 years.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, I'm going to something else. But it's like, you want that immediate, like, you say I'm this good now, I need to be this good. Like right now, I need nothing less. Man,
exactly.
So I definitely feel with your story, like similarities and everything.
Yeah.
That's interesting to see like a whole totally different sport like softball. Like to me, it's like the similarities and still like the recruiting.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because, like you said, we just don't. You want that immediate satisfaction, especially when you feel like you deserve it and you're good enough. But at the same time, I can say I was deserving and good enough, but I don't know if I was that deserving because I was very stubborn. Like that whole process, I was real stubborn and real hard-headed that I saw one way and that was it. And I closed doors that I shouldn't have done. Stupid.
Dropping gems, don't close doors.
That's a new perspective, yeah.
Stay open to everything, even if you feel like, you know, you that person, you know. Never take a look at, you know, your options. Take a look at everything, for real.
Yeah. And like even so, your gut will tell you, and you just want to make sure that you go to a school that even if your sport wasn't there, you would still have a good time and still like, even if your sport was stripped away. Because looking back,
Winthrop ain't it.
Like, I lost both sides. I got worse as an athlete and didn't have fun. How is that?
Hey, man, this is by no means is this a knock on like Winthrop's education or, you know, anything like that.
No, but, I have friends that love it.
It was just like personally for me, like coming from a big city, coming from where I'm from personally, I was like, you know, total culture change, just like totally different. The nearest city is Charlotte, and Charlotte ain't like, Charlotte's cool, but it's not like, you know, DC or, you know, like LA or whatever, you know, going from there. So it's like, it's cool, but once you get used to it, it's like, it's not cut out for everybody. You know, it's a cool.
You know, it's funny. My family's from, my grandparents live in Lancaster, South Carolina.
Yeah.
So I used to always drive past Winthrop. I used to think to myself, like, yo, that's a university, bro. I was like, yo, what is that? But nah, shout out. I got cousins that go there, man. Shout out. Wintrop's a dope school.
Yeah, shout out to like a lot of.
At the end of the day, huh?
Go ahead.
Well, at the end of the day, what made you take Winthrop? Did, like you mentioned, you know, academics, did that at all take apart? Like, well, I want to major in this. Winthrop has this, or
like, what did you think about
school as well?
Girl, I honestly couldn't even tell you, because the thing is, I didn't even know what I wanted to do. Like, I just talked about this with my friend the other day. Like, I wish I didn't choose marketing. So, because I didn't know what I was going to do. I just chose it. Because
you was a marketing major?
Yeah.
Shut up, bro. We're like twins.
And, but like, there's so many more stuff. Like, I'm like, oh, I should have did this. But I think ultimately my decision was, it was D1. It was one of the last few, and honestly, because my friends were going there, so I was just like, I might as well just go. Like, if they saw something good in that and I trusted them, then it has to be a good school.
Yeah.
It is a good school. It just wasn't the school.
Yeah, y'all are a dog. It was just like that.
Nah, bro. Just be honest. Just being honest. Like, when I first got the call to be like, do you want to go to Winthrop? I was like, where is that?
I'm pretty sure everyone did. Everyone just wanted Pat Kelsey. But I can't even blame, like, at least there was Pat Kelsey. Like, I can't blame, oh, well, at least there was Coach Cook. No. If I had a little vision, I would have
All right,
and that's what I hate. That's what I hate, because now I have a total different, like, I don't watch softball. I don't go to softball games. I haven't picked up my glove or a bat, and I play football now. Football is my first love. And I honestly think I have this, like, I don't want to say hatred, but I don't have, like, that love is not there no more. Like, I could go the rest of my life without picking up a softball and be okay.
I definitely think that gets stripped away in, like, the business of it too, because, like, you know, if you look at just your story, and then I feel like my story too, it's like, you know, you get to where it's too late, and then you're falling into, like you said, early, even in like high school or like even middle school, like you fall into the politics of things. Whereas like some kids might just get a spot because their family might know somebody else, or, you know, whatever. So it's like you're getting into the politics of that sport, or, you know, that business at that point. Like, when did you realize that sports was a business, you know, kind of thing, like that took that turn, and you like kind of like, oh, all right, like I got to kind of move different or understand how this actually works?
Probably during college, because yeah, the coaches were scammers.
Oh my gosh, I don't know if this was gonna make it. I don't know if this was gonna make it out.
You can cut it out, but no, they already know. It's new coaches now. I love the new coaches. I wish I was there with these new coaches. Would have been a totally different Kim.
What's the total, like, softball wise? What's the difference? Or you mean just coaches at the school?
Coaches at the school now.
Oh, okay. I thought you just meant like in general, like they're all different or something like that.
No, just the coaches.
True.
But yeah.
Did you ever think about leaving Winthrop then?
Yes.
Like transferring? All right. So through high school,
that's another big decision.
We got to marketing. I guess did you choose your major, or were you like undeclared until like you're just like, I'm gonna do marketing, or you just chose out the gate?
I chose it. Yeah,
okay.
I chose it.
So you got marketing, they got that, you got business, you got all that. So we're in college now, freshman year. What's that like? You know, what's a totally different experience? What's that like?
Thinking back, like freshman to senior year, completely different in all aspects. Like, it is insane how different it was. And that can be a very good thing, but it also can be a very bad thing, or it just, you know, whatever. It was just like every freshman, and they always tell you this, I feel like. I mean, I know for softball they do, but I'm sure for every sport they do, is, you know, you're walking in onto a team that everyone started in high school. It's not just you that started in high school. Everyone did. So you can't walk in thinking like, I'm going to start, which I totally understood. But I also, like I said, like I always saw my abilities. And so when you put my abilities with how hard I worked, I was, you know, pretty much, I knew that I should be playing. I should be starting. And it goes back to when other people are telling you you should be and you're not, then it kind of is like, it makes you think, oh, like I am right. I'm not being crazy or too like into myself or something like that. So for us, it was, you know, freshmen didn't really start. That's how our coach saw it. And I get that, you know, you're a freshman, you're not ready, maybe, or something like that. And so for that year, what was told was, once you start getting older, it's like the seniors start. And then once you start working up, that's how it goes. It's not really if you're going to outplay somebody, which I just didn't agree with. I just didn't. So I was like, yeah, my dad wanted me to transfer. I mean, he really wanted me to transfer, just because even from little things, like I remember one of our first practices, we did this, he put on this YouTube and had this drill of this new hitting technique. And this new hitting technique was called a shift. And I learned that when I was 14. Like I did those drills when I was 14. And that's to give you the perspective of the West Coast was very advanced, because this YouTube was from a West Coast team. And I was like, y'all are just learning this? I was like, what y'all talking about? So it was just little things like that where I was like, he's still back in, like, you know, when he played, which was a long time ago. So I was thinking about transferring, but my whole thing was that I didn't have stats to transfer, and I still don't really know what the transferring process is. And that's my biggest advice, is like, ask, because I was afraid to transfer because I didn't know what that process was going to be. How does credits and all that stuff, like I didn't want to start all over. I didn't have the stats because I wasn't playing all the time. I only had a few stats. So I was afraid to transfer. So ultimately, like, I wish I just would have right out the bat, because then that next year I was like, okay, well, I'll probably play more next year. Let me pad in my stats, and then transfer after sophomore year. Well, then sophomore year, I started every single game. So I was like, well, I mean, I'm starting now. I might as well just stay, because now he sees it. Because, I mean, that going into that sophomore year, that summer, I looked at him and I said, when I come back, I'm going to be bigger, faster, stronger. There will be no reason that you do not start me. I promise you that. So I worked out every day. I did drills with myself or my dad or my old coaches every day. And then I got the starting spot. And so I was starting every game. So I was like, well, maybe I just won't transfer. I'll just stay, because obviously now he sees that, like, it's there, the hard work's there, and I'm that athlete. then junior year, they just didn't like me. Junior year, they just didn't like me.
And but you're talking like the same coaching staff and everything. You had the same coaches for all 4 years.
Yes.
That's crazy, bro.
That assistant coach got a little different each year. I think the main coach stayed the same. It was the assistant coach changed, and she got a little more comfortable. But I mean, it was just stupid stuff. It was stupid stuff, and it made no sense. I was so frustrated that I actually, like, I think that was the year that it was sophomore year and junior year, I went into like a deep depression. So I didn't even give a shit. That was the thing. Was like, things were happening, but I didn't care. I was like, okay, well, if I'm not going to play this game, okay. Like, I just I don't know what was going on with me. I think it was from when I was in high school, that whole process, and then just seeing how it was playing out, and just knowing that it wasn't what I always thought it was going to be. And I just went into this deep, deep, deep depression. And then it was during that, and I just didn't give a shit. I was like, well, I'm not going to work hard for it when they obviously don't even see me working hard. So it's like what's the point? Yeah. And I wish that I would have asked more questions about transferring and just did it. Because, I mean, like we all say, your gut knows things, like right away. Like, even like the school you want to go to, or, you know, if you want to play or not, like your gut is going to tell you what you should do. And my gut always said to transfer. I just never did.
It's just like the fear of unknown. Because, like, I thought about it too. Like, I thought about going from Winthrop to JUCO just to do something. Like, clearly could have played at a JUCO. I already knew that, but it was just like, am I gonna miss out on something here? And like, I already, you know, you think that you can play, or like, you know, you're confident enough that you can play at that level or whatever. So it's like, why leave when I can prove myself? You know what I mean? But in reality, like, going back to the business of sports, like, coach can drop you at any time. You know what I mean? And you can't drop the coach. Like, it's no either or, you know, it's like one way or the other, you know, one way or, you know, my way or the highway kind of thing. So it's like, you know, at the end of the day, once you get to college and you feel like that's the best decision, because you only get a certain time frame to transfer for certain stuff. Like, if I wanted to go to JUCO, I could only go, I think, like, my freshman and sophomore year, and then go to somewhere else. So it's like, but if you wanted to transfer out to another school or however you want to do it, there's a lot of rules that I didn't know about, but I wish I would have, you know, at least thought about or asked, or, you know, like you said, just ask the questions and then, you know, make your decision off that, not just, you know, well, I'm already here, you know, just let it settle in. And I'm just going to, at some points, it's just like, I'm doing the bare minimum, bro. Like, I'm getting by. It's just like every day is robotic, and you just get into like a system.
So, and I also think,
go ahead.
Because we're athletes, we have a certain, and I believe this about all athletes, but even I more say top athletes, we have this mentality that even when we don't want to work hard, or we're like, man, whatever, we still are going to we're still going to go after it. We're still going to work hard, even though we're saying we're not. We're still, because it's like, it's something built in a person that's a true athlete that is not going to give up. You did something, you went a certain way, so you want to like prove yourself, and you want to like work past it and like push that wall down and get to that finish. And sometimes it's a great characteristic to have, and it's a great thing for everyday life, because you'll take that into your life after sports and after college, which is great. But sometimes you need to know when you know better for yourself, and where you should say, you know what, let me pause, take a breath, and redirect into a different energy, because that can get me caught up in just going more downhill, which for some of us, like me and you, have, and that's unfortunate, but we always learn. That's another thing.
This is a fact. And go ahead, Jay.
That's a good point, growing up playing ball and stuff. Because I think you took the reclass, right? You went to prep school, right, Kellen?
Yeah, I went to prep for a year.
Yeah, so I always had the option too, go to prep. But I was like, nah, I don't think I want to do that, because my end goal was always just get into making money, man. Because I knew that at the end of the day, bro, on 5'8", the league was not going to be a thing. Let's be real. So I was like, man, I could reclass, go to prep school, do my thing, find a JUCO, whatever. I could even went and play D3, but I was like, all right, the schools that wanted me D3, D2, they didn't have what I wanted academically. And I'm trying to get out, like I said, and get something that has my major, so I get out and compete with people up here in DC. With the it is competing up here with the guys. But I think at the end of the day, like you said before, Kim, what's best for you. So if you think that what's best for you is not always what you want to do, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You have to see what's going to take you the furthest, what's going to benefit you, what's going to, at the end of the day, help you support yourself. And if playing, going JUCO, going to prep school or reclassing, whatever, is that, the best thing for you, then do that. But if it's not, then, go ahead and go to that one school and go ahead and, get your stuff done over there,
Yeah.
Big facts. I think one of the hardest thing, especially for athletes, especially the way you put it, is coming to terms with reality, like the now, like definitely it's like one of the hardest things for me, but like I've learned a lot since, college and all that. So like I kind of understand just like being in the now and like working with like what I got right now and how to prepare for the future still and still have all that. But like, just like, what can I do at this moment? But I think like that's one of the hardest things, is just facing reality, because like you said, you have so many voices in your head, so many people in your ear telling you this and that. You kind of like lose sight of like just you know what I mean? It's like people have this picture of like who you can be or who they want you to be, but it's like, you kind of get into that picture and you fade out of like who you truly are. Because like even like you were saying with coaches, I wanted to bring this up earlier, but like every coach is going to tell you something, a different way to do something. Like I have had so many different coaches tell me how to shoot a jump shot. It's jacked up so much different stuff. Like one coach will show me one thing, whatever, one person will tell you step like this and step like that. It's so, you're just playing a fine game with whoever you're working with at that time. And it's like, it's so tough to deal with, but it also teaches you like life. Like if I have a boss or whatever that tells me to do something one way and I have somebody else that tells me to do it another way, then it's like, you kind of get that familiarity with like, how that game is played. But I mean, it just comes with the territory a lot, and it's tough to balance. Like you said, one thing you do talk about is depression. I don't know if you want to touch on that or not. If not, we don't have to. But I mean, I think, especially for guys too, I tell this to, all the people that we've interviewed so far. It's like definitely guys like have the little, I'm macho, I don't have to like cry or whatever, like go through, like we don't go through shit, to be real, but like we do. And like you said, being a student athlete is tough. You still deal with whatever, it's like family problems. You're still a human being on top of playing sports, traveling, doing school, everything else that comes with it. So it's like, talking about that, I think depression and just stress is really important too, because like I feel like a lot of high school kids just feel like they got it together. Like you said earlier, like you had to put on a front. you know, and it's like not a lot of people are just being them anymore. It's like, especially with social media, we haven't even talked about that yet, but like, you know, social media gives off like this false persona. Like I could be whoever I want to be on here, but in real life, I'm a totally different person, you know? So even if you being on social media, be you, you know, don't be nobody that's, you know, not your characteristics. Be, if you goofy for real, be goofy, you know, if you serious, you take notes, whatever it is, like do that and be that same person. Don't let this whole social media thing get out of hand and be like, I gotta be somebody totally different for people to like me and, you know, whatever. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on just, I guess, dealing with stress? We'll just say that.
It's one of those things where I feel like the older you get, the more, and this goes for the last couple of things we have said, I feel like it's something that you learn more later, and or the more time you have, you learn like more outside of college. Like Jalen, you said how it might not be what you want to do, but you still have to do something sometimes that you don't want to do. And as we get older, we realize that those things, they come out more. And it's the maturity, I think, that happens when we like realize that there's things that we got to do that we don't want to do. And I think when you're in that college and high school ages, you're not in that mentality. I don't want to say they're not mature, because you still have maturity in those kids, but you're not at that mentality to understand that, and that is fine. But it's something that adults need to realize to help them, you know, help them with that path, because they can't do it on their own, and they shouldn't have to. And that goes with the anxiety, circling back, like that's something that a lot of people, I don't think, want to accept in themselves. And I think that I say this with a lot of different things, I'm like, the first thing you have to do is accept that it is happening, or accept that you are this way, or accept, you know, whatever it is, acknowledge it, look at it in its damn face and be like, this is happening to me. Like, that's the first thing, is to look at yourself and say, like, this is happening. You don't have to do anything about it. Don't have to do anything right now about it. Don't have to tell anybody, but you need to look at yourself in the mirror and say, this is happening. This is how I feel. And then go from there. Then your next one is, okay, well, why do I feel this way? So you can start talking to yourself. Like, I always recommend people talking to themselves, especially if they have anxiety and depression and all that stuff, because a lot of people don't want to open up to people. And I've had friends that are very closed off with just people in general. And I always tell them, you have to get out your feelings. So literally when you're in the car, start talking to yourself. Say, I am sad today because this happened and that happened and blah, blah, blah. I was like, you're going to think it's dumb. You're going to think it sounds crazy. But the amount of car ride talks I've had to myself to make me feel better, bitch, I'm like, you will feel elite afterwards. And so it's like, it's really letting yourself know how you feel. And once you tell yourself how you feel and you accept it, that's the next step, is accepting, like, okay, I feel this way and that's fine. Like, that's okay. We can get through this. Then it's like, okay, well, maybe I should reach out to a close friend if it's not a family member. For me, it's not a family member. Like, it's not, and it's not going to be a guidance counselor. That's fine, which you should. But I realize that that's not what people do. Like, I'm not dumb. You're not going to reach out to a counselor or a parent, which I wish people would, but it's something about that they don't want to. So usually it's the friend's job, because you're going to most likely tell a close one or a close loved one and something like that. But those are the first steps, is like acknowledging it and like facing it, making sure you know and you accept that you feel a certain way, and then letting someone else know, because then they can help you, or they can find somebody that can help you.
Man, mental health gems. I love it. I love it, man. If you out there going through some things, man, you know, Kim just dropped some gems, man. Pay attention.
Big facts, because I'm
wise out here, okay?
I'm glad you said that though. Just talking to yourself, like, people gonna say it's crazy, but I guarantee you, almost all of us have done it for the most part. Like, even if you just asking yourself a question, like, I'd be like,
girl,
it just be, you know what I'm saying, bro?
I be crying in my bed, y'all. I be crying in my bed, like, why are we sad? Why are we sad right now?
On my life, I have like so many voice memos like after I have like a breakdown. Not that I cry, and I'm not gonna admit that I be crying and nothing, but
bro, go ahead and say you
if I
cry, bro.
did,
It's okay if you cry.
I'm joking. Yeah, man. Of course, you gotta let it out, man. You know, real dudes shed real tears. You know what I mean? Hey, write that down, bro. Write that down. Anyways, yeah. You know, I make voice memos to myself. Like after I'm done, you know, I get it out and then I make a very, you know, encouraging type of voice memo whenever I feel down. And you are your best pick me up because you know you more than anybody else. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Bro, I love this conversation.
Dude,
taking a turn for like the great right now.
I got gems all up my sleeves right here.
Oh my goodness! Here we go.
This shit all the time.
Here we
voice
go.
memos. That is a good idea.
See,
voice memos.
Gotta love the podcast. But all right, so I don't even remember where we at. We were just having great conversations, to be real. So all right, so we're through, you know, college. You wanted to transfer. So all right, so you wanted to transfer. Like you ended up sticking it out. How was just the rest of, you know, college?
Like without softball or softball wise?
I mean softball. We'll start with softball and just go.
Let's just say I should have transferred. You pushed through it. Yes, I did. Right. I pushed through it. I pushed through it. I did. And you know what? I learned a lot of lessons about myself and about life. And you know, that's all I can really, when I go back and I tell people, like, they're like, well, did you like your college experience? I'm like, I learned a lot. Like, at least I can take a lesson with the L. I can take it.
No L's. L's are just lessons. L's are just lessons.
They sure feel like L's sometimes.
They do. They hurt sometimes. I ain't gonna lie, but you know, when you look back at it, like you said, you just learning, bro.
Yeah. Because I mean, it just went from bad to worse. And this is, you know, not even individual wise, team wise. I mean, literally, I don't even want to say our record senior year, but, you know, it was like, I don't even want to say there's team issues, but a lot of the time, like, really why we all stayed and why we all could play together so well was because our chemistry was because we all had the same feeling about our coaches. So even though that was a very bad and dark, you know, way to unify, we still found somehow to unify with it. So, I mean, at least we had that. And then, you know, we had the next part was senior year. We just, it was a bad year. We were not playing well. You know, we just didn't have the pitching, so there was really nothing we could do. And then Jay, the person that told me not to go to Winthrop, basically, my mentor. So I was working with her. She did a nonprofit, basically, where we were basically going to like high schools and stuff like that are in low income areas that aren't necessarily good areas in Charlotte, and basically telling them, like, if you have a dream, you can do whatever you want. Your circumstance does not like eliminate your dream. You can still do all that stuff. So we'd bring activities and stuff like that to do, because she was in social work, but she didn't like a 9-to-5. And so she made this whole non-profit organization, and like I was going to work with her after college. That's what I was planning to do. And then she did a bike tour for it. She was going to bring her you know, curriculum or whatever around the US to different cities. So, because she was also a cyclist. So during senior year, I was supposed to graduate, and then I was going to fly out they were going to be in Florida, and then I was going to ride up with her. But she was in Texas and got in a car accident and lost her life. And her and the other guy that was the co-founder of the organization. And that day at practice, like, it's so sad, but it is funny as well. So I go into our locker room because I'm early for practice, like I always am, like the good leader I am. And one of my freshmen was like, "Hey Kim, you need to go. They want to talk to you in the team room." And I was like, "Who?" And they said the coaches. I was like, "What'd I do?" I was like, "Why?" And she was like, "No, I think they're gonna tell you." And I was like, "No, like." I was like, "Come on now. Yeah, like, you got to come on, help me out. Like, what did I do? What did I do now?" I was like, "I didn't go out yesterday. Like, I didn't drink. I don't know. There was no, like, bad pictures on Instagram." And then she was like, I think you should just go in there." And I was like, "Girl," I was starting to get mad at her. I was like, "Girl, if you don't tell me what the hell they're about to tell me so I can prepare." Because she was like, they want to talk to you and Nay and Bradley. And I was like, "Girl, you can't send us just like empty-handed." I was like, they're gonna ridicule me and I don't know why. So I go in there and they tell us like she passed away that morning, night-ish. And I mean, we just like broke down. They told us, you know, you don't have to go to practice or whatever like that. But at the end of it, you know, our team really did like come together. Because I mean, that team was, I mean, there was just unnecessary drama. We weren't doing good, so that caused more drama because it was everyone's fault, you know what I mean? And then and the coach's fault and all that stuff. So then when that happened, it kind of like in a way unified us in, you know, a sad way, but still in a way. And then come to find out, so her number was 15. I told y'all I wasn't going to tell our record at the end of the year, but we only won 15 games.
How many games did you play in softball?
A lot more than that. Okay. A lot.
That was what, 15 and 55?
Usually the record is like 55-60.
Oh, wow.
Dang.
Yeah. But I was like, "Thanks, Jay. 15, really? You could have gave us like a little bit more. I don't know."
She wanted y'all to go out on her number, or her terms. That's I mean, RIP to her for sure. Sad to hear that story, but I'm glad, you know, she still had the impact, it seems like, you know, on your life positively, and you know, seemed like a dope person.
Definitely. I mean, that was really, she helped me get out of my depression because I actually reached out to her. I mean, I reached out. The only people that knew about it was my ex, Derek, and her. And she helped me the most to get out of it, and basically working with those kids. So then out of college, you know, I didn't have that job, obviously, because they didn't have anything, but it really just like helped me figure out like what I want to do and all that stuff. And so that's why I say I learned so much, not even just with her and the bad that happened with that, but I took so much from that. That's why I can be wise and have all these gems up my sleeve, because I mean, you can always find the good and the bad.
I mean, that's life though. Like, good and bad is balance, you know. It comes with I feel like the irony of life. I always think life is kind of ironic because you need something good or you need something bad to be good, or, you know, whatever. But all right. So past college, get through all that, graduate. Like you said, you know, you kind of figured out what you want to do. Like, what are you doing now? Or like, what is it that you want to do?
What am I doing? You know, it's like, I had the normal job, like I had the little, you know, making good money. I was making good money at a little 9 to 5. But then it went back to her, and it was like, it wasn't. I was so unhappy. I was making all this money, but so unhappy. And that's when I stopped and said, you know, I could have all the money in the world, but if I'm not happy, then what the hell am I doing? Like, I'd rather be getting by and living my best life, like at least happy. And who knows what that looks like, but all I know is this ain't it. I was like, I'm not staying right here. So her advice to all the kids was always, you know, if you could do anything for free, what would you do? Because that's what you should want to do. And every time I have to check myself, or I'm like, oh, I know I'm stressing about a job or something like that, I'm like, you know what? If I could do anything for free, what should I do right now? And then I go do it. So I stopped that, and I I still do marketing, but it's more promotions and advertisement for Bang Energy. Best energy drink out there.
Tell Bang to sponsor us a little bit, you know, if you want to throw them out there.
Yeah. You're right. But like I do acting too. Acting's like my number one passion.
Definitely can tell you're a character.
Yes, always. I can be a lot of different characters. That's what's fun about it.
What sign are you?
Guess.
I mean, I'm very similar. I don't want to guess you're I don't know.
No,
if I had to guess, I would say Gemini or a Leo.
Okay, well, my rising is a Gemini, which your rising means like what people think you are, like your first appearance to people or what you show to the world. But I'm a Scorpio.
Oh, I don't know nothing about them.
The girls are good people. Boys, watch them.
Ain't me, so it's all good.
But yeah. I pretty much do everything that I want to do. Like I like creating, I like making art. I'm about to get on this eBay and sell this.
Shawty said eBay. I haven't heard nobody say eBay.
Have you seen have you seen these TikToks and these Twitters of like these
TikTok
guys?
TikTok be crazy. You be going crazy on TikTok too. Shout out to TikTok. We out here just plugging everybody today, man.
Follow me.
Hey, you got an art page? What kind of art you do?
I really like drawing, but I'm trying to.
She dope with the drawing. She dope with it.
Yeah, like I can really draw. So now I want to paint because these people literally just like swiggle a line and you put it on eBay and they're going for like $1,500.
Do you have an art page on IG?
I don't.
Oh, sure. You gotta make one.
Slacking.
Yeah, I know.
Just put it on your regular IG.
Because I can paint shoes, and I'm like, I need to start.
I swear.
I swear, I need to start posting that. I just made some dope Nickelodeon shoes.
What you don't got them right now? Yeah.
No, they're not.
You gonna have to show me those later.
I will. They pretty fire. I'm like, yo, I could start a little business.
Hey, all right, hold on.
But yeah, that's how my mind works.
After this, real quick, we gonna holler. But all right, last question. At least for me, Jay might have one after this, but this is the last question we ask everybody. So, like, a big thing of exposing sports is like life skills. Like, you don't really get those in high school or college, to be real with you. But so we ask everybody, like, you know, what is your one piece of advice, life skill wise, for either college or high school student athlete, or just person in general, honestly?
I have so many.
Oh man.
But I must say,
okay,
because I can't tell you nothing about fucking stocks and shit. But you should learn about those. Apparently, you can do really
get your credit straight.
Get your credit right. Never go in debt. But my biggest one that I always tell people is, you ready for this, Jim? Okay.
Oh wait. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Your peace should be your ultimate priority. And if something disrupts your peace, then it doesn't need to be in your life. And I think that can go for a lot of different things. It doesn't matter, but people tend to bring a lot of, I don't want to call it baggage, but they don't bring positive. A lot of people say they don't bring positive, they bring a lot of negative. But if you don't bring something that brings me peace, then I don't really need it. You don't need it. If it's going to disrupt your peace, then why would you even have it around you, in your space? It's not welcomed or welcome.
We might have to add you as third co-host or something like this, like, you know.
Facts.
I don't know. I like it, man.
Hey, yo, guest host, bro. We can have guest host, bro.
This is a fact.
You should. I would love hosting.
Hey, I haven't told Leah this, but for hers, she's gonna do one of these, and you're gonna have to be on here when we do hers too. All right, so that'll definitely be one. That'll be fun for sure. But all right, so aside from that, I don't have no more questions. That was a great Jim. I feel like, all right, you definitely top Derek's episode personally, I think. Jay, unless you have any more questions, man.
I do not. Thank you for coming on our podcast. Thank you for your perspective. Thank you for your time. Really appreciate it. It was really dope.
Oh, that's another one. Perspective. Perspective is my word.
Perspective?
Perspective is everything. Perspective is key to this life. And once people unlock that, it's true. Like, you think about it, we all have a different perspective.
Exactly.
Like, you see a rainbow, we see the same rainbow. I think something, you think something else.
It's a true, like,
it's the
artist
same rainbow,
visionary right there talking to you.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
Facts, but also appreciation for you, and I appreciate you for doing this. I am gonna have a shirt for you, one of these.
Oh, cool.
Or a tank top, something. I'm gonna keep you in gear, so give you some. And next time in Charlotte, we definitely gotta link up and have some fun, get a drink or something like that. But like I said, man, I appreciate you. Make sure you guys tune in to the rest of our videos. Hit that notification button so you never miss one. This has been a great one. Like I said, shout out to Kim, and as always, me, my guy Jay. Thank you guys, and join us next time.